This episode is brought to you by ARX. You want to be a successful strength training studio owner. The problem is you aren't able to deliver the safest, most efficient and effective workouts, making it harder for you to attract and retain clients, which makes you feel frustrated. I understand that it can be difficult to differentiate your business without the right tools. ARX's breakthrough adaptive resistance technology uses patented motorized resistance and computer software to give you and your clients the perfect workout every single time. BioFit founder John Zarbok says that ARX is clearly the superior tool to deliver the exercise stimulus. My clients are seeing insane improvements in weeks, not months. I could not fathom running my business without ARX. So here's how you get started. Number one, go to arxfit.com/HOB to get $500 off your ARX machines. Number two, book a call with the ARX sales team. And number three, learn how ARX can help you grow your strength training business. Go to arxfit.com/HOB so you can stop struggling to attract and retain clients and start to grow your strength training business with confidence. Lawrence Neal here, and welcome back to highintensitybusiness.com, the podcast where we discuss high-intensity strength training and provide you with the tools, the tactics, and strategies to grow your strength training business. Before we get into today's episode, I want to let you know about the resource over on the blog post for this episode, which is a free PDF on how to attract great personal trainers to your strength training business. You can get that over at highintensitybusiness.com if you search for episode 354. You'll also get access to a lot more resources, including PDF transcripts, financial tools, checklists, and more to help you with your strength training business. Secondly, are you struggling to grow your strength training business? If so, join HIT Business Membership, where we provide how-to guides from successful studio owners, a monthly virtual happy hour with experts, Q&As, forum community, private coaching from myself, and lots more to help you grow your strength training business with confidence. Join now by going to highintensitybusiness.com and just clicking the join membership button. This is episode 354, and this is part 2 of the High Intensity Training Fundamentals series with Tim Ryan. Tim is a master Superso instructor and owner of Strong Life Personal Training in Barrington, Illinois. You can also contact Tim to learn about his services to studio owners and personal trainers, including workshops, mentoring, and seminars by going to his website, stronglifetraining.com, or emailing Tim to info@stronglifetraining.com. Tim, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you, Lawrence.
Great to have you, and loved part 1, obviously, and was just listening to a bit of that this morning in preparation for this. And I think it only makes sense to carry on from where we left off, talking about advantages and benefits of high intensity, slow motion strength training. So, you talked about, you touched on how it delivers total fitness, safety in terms of there being less force, reducing injury risk, some of the benefits of slow movement, and just the whole idea of it being such a surgical approach to exercise and being just the right kind of minimum effective dose response that we all know and love. So I wanted to just hear you elaborate more on the benefits to people, just to give the listeners more ideas as to, frankly, for their own benefit, to know the benefits that they're bringing to their body and their health, but also as business owners, how they can articulate those to their clients as well.
Yeah. Obviously one of the things that I touched upon a lot as we sort of were wrapping up last time was the fact that this training philosophy, this protocol, these methods that we use are highly effective and time efficient. And obviously one of the big important benefits of that is the safety and the quality of the workout and being able to produce results for clients and for ourselves, but also that time efficiency, being able to get in the gym and get the work done and get the benefits without really spending your life in the gym. And all those things are important, but as we apply that to our businesses, one of the things we have to keep in mind is who our target market is and who our clientele are. one of the things when it comes to exercise is there are some groups of people that like to spend their life in a gym. It's their lifestyle, it's their recreation, it's the way they socialize. And here I'm thinking about people such as bodybuilders and real high-end fitness enthusiasts that are just really sort of obsessed with their exercise. Typically, these people tend to be younger as well, and maybe not have a lot of family commitments and things like that. And, like I say, if you're young and single and you don't have any other commitments outside of the gym other than maybe your job, and you use exercise and going to the gym as your socialization, and you like to hang out for a couple hours after work and you talk to people and you meet people, or maybe you're looking for someone to date or whatnot, but those kind of people are typically not our clientele. Okay, when we're dealing particularly with personal training, there's a specific group of people that we're targeting, and a certain age group, a range of people that we're targeting. And generally, I would say that most of our clients tend to fall within about the 40 to 60-year-old age range. Not that we don't get people outside that range, but I think the bulk of the people are going to be in that 40 to 60-year-old age range. We're also targeting people that are higher income, okay? Because for personal training services, you need people that have disposable income available to them and want to spend it on their health and their fitness, and they value professional, assistance with this. So 40 to 60, higher income range. Typically, this means people that are going to be, business executives, doctors, lawyers, accountants, things of that nature, or just management of business owners, all of these types of things. So with that group of people that we're targeting, they are very busy people. They are people that don't have a lot of time to spend in the gym and don't want to spend a lot of time in the gym. They're typically also, married with kids. So they've got other things going on in their lives besides their careers. They've got family, kids, wives, husbands, whatnot. So those type of people are time pressured. They're busy, and they don't have the inclination to spend their life in a gym. So with those people, reflect back on this idea of safety, effective efficiency, that's going to be highly valued. In fact, a lot of people that I get as clients tell me that one of the things that attracted them was the time efficiency factor. And, I've seen all kinds of different, not necessarily studies, but surveys where they question why people don't exercise. Because let's face it, most people don't exercise. If we look at the entire population, I don't know, maybe 20% of the people exercise. And when you look at that 20% that say they exercise, not all of them even strength train. I mean, they may consider going out walking on a regular basis as their exercise program. So there's not a lot of people that exercise, but when surveys are conducted to see why don't people exercise, one of the biggest reasons they give is lack of time. Okay. And also you've got the situation where the media, the government, health professionals promote this idea, or at least convey this message, that you've got to exercise daily, or you've got to spend hours a week exercising, and reflect back to one of the benefits of the high intensity training, particularly the way Nautilus initially promoted it, was that rather than having to do your strength training several days per week for several hours, and then do your cardio or your aerobic training for an equal amount of time, and then do stretching and flexibility programs. I mean, you'd be talking, the average person back in the day with conventional programs was maybe working out for, 6 to 10 hours a week to try to get all that in. And Nautilus comes along, and Arthur Jones comes along and says, no, for 2 to 3 30-minute workouts a week, you can get strength, cardio conditioning, and flexibility off from the one program. What we're offering people is a way to get fit, to get healthy, to change their body in a fraction of the time of other programs. Okay, so that's really important. But let's talk about what are those specific benefits that they're going to get, and this is an area where it's just mind-boggling what the research has uncovered over the past decade and the past several years of the tremendous amount of benefits that particularly strength training has to offer. I mean, we've always known that exercise is beneficial and exercise provides a wide range of health benefits, but even more so, the incredible benefit of strength training. And I'm talking about things that, way beyond what we always thought. Like, obviously, we always knew that, well, you can increase your muscular strength, you can increase your lean body mass, you can, sort of from a general sense, fight back that aging process, that, you could reduce your high blood pressure, more normalize your blood pressure, have a lower resting heart rate, and build your bone strength and things like that. But in recent years, we've seen research that indicates that, it goes far deeper than that. And you've got a situation where, strength training has been shown to literally reverse aging at the cellular level. And it's been shown to repair DNA damage, and it's been shown to have cognitive health benefits, reduce the risk of dementia and Alzheimer's and things of that nature, reduce heart disease risk, lower blood sugar levels, make your body more sensitive to the effects of insulin, better control your blood sugar levels, and on it goes. And we've always touted, a lot of these benefits, but some of these are really exceeding what we, even the advocates of this used to think. And I'm really amazed by what goes on. And one of the things where I think that a lot of these benefits come from beyond the obvious of, like we said, strengthening the muscles, strengthening the bones, and doing those good things was, and Dr. Doug McGuff has talked about this a lot, is this concept of myokines. Myokines are these essentially chemical messengers that the muscles secrete when you exercise. And these chemical messengers, these myokines, are literally flooding your body, going out with instructions to every organ in your body and delivering instructions for these organ systems and these body parts to be enhanced. Okay, so it's just incredible. And we're just touching the surface on this, but essentially when you strength train, you are literally triggering your entire body to become healthier and all of your bodily systems to function better and organs to improve. And this is where these things such as repairing DNA damage and reversing aging at the cellular level and becoming, healthier in these wide range of health issues, I really believe that's where it's coming from, is from these myokines. And the other concept that ties into this is that you can secrete myokines from, say, walking or doing some aerobic type cardiovascular activity, but the level of myokine secretion depends on the amount of stress that you place on your muscles. In other words, as you work at higher intensity levels, when you place more stress on your muscles, you are stimulating higher myokine production and secretion. And this really ties in with what we already know about this high intensity exercise, is that it becomes more effective, it becomes more potent. And here it's going beyond just the obvious that as you exercise at a higher level, the quality of your exercise improves as you place more stress on your muscles. That myokine secretion and the benefits of that activates at a much higher level. So just as we know that strength training produces much more profound benefits than walking does, it's not to say that walking doesn't have its benefits, but We know that strength training produces a much higher level of that, even in various fitness and muscular parameters, but it also does it in terms of the health benefits and the related myokine secretion. So basically, these benefits that we tout of high intensity exercise, namely increasing the quality of exercise and the potency of the exercise, like I talked about last time, that's doing the same thing at every level of your health and fitness. Okay, so we really have an advantage here is that it goes much deeper than what we realized, and the benefits of this are much higher. And as compared to other types of exercise, this type of training is really going to produce benefits at a much higher level across the spectrum. And one of my pet peeves that I've had for a long time is when somebody, particularly somebody who's doing a different type of exercise, or maybe somebody that's just walking for fitness, or maybe somebody that's kind of going through the motions with their strength training and not really applying it very well and not working hard, is that you always get this comment that, well, it's better than nothing. Kind of this idea is that, yeah, maybe what I'm doing is not as effective as what you're advocating, Tim, but at least I'm doing something and it's better than nothing. Okay. Well, I hate that, because especially when it comes to your health and your fitness and all these benefits that we're touching on, something, just doing anything is really not going to cut it. Particularly when we are aging and we're talking about all the degradation that occurs with the aging process. Just going for a walk is not going to cut it, or just doing some light strength training where you're not really pushing and challenging yourself very much, that isn't good enough. And yeah, maybe technically it's better than nothing, but that kind of program is going to lead to the same degradation as not exercising. They've looked at people that even people that do just cardiovascular aerobic type training throughout their lifetime, they age and they deteriorate just as fast as people that don't exercise.
I was going to ask about that. That's interesting.
Yeah. And it's been shown that strength training is literally the only intervention that preserves your muscle and builds your strength as you age and stops you from completely deteriorating. So just doing something, it's not really better than nothing, because you're as you age, you're going to deteriorate and have problems. And what we're offering people is really life-saving and can change their lives in terms of their physical health, their physical abilities, fighting back that aging process and maintaining themselves as they age. And just, I think it was yesterday, one of my friends posted on his business's Facebook page, above his leg press, he's got written on the wall, with an inscription on the wall that says, "Easy doesn't work," and he's reminding his clients, particularly when they're on, the king of exercises there, the leg press, that easy exercise doesn't work. Okay. Now, again, not to say that
by our leg press, I think.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So we need to exercise at a certain intensity, and you need to stress your body in a certain way in order to stimulate the benefits that we're talking about. So what we're offering people, and to tie this back into that target market, that busy professional that's got work and family and career and other things, they don't want to spend their life in the gym. So we can really capture those people, and by promoting not only these benefits, but the time efficiency and the quality of the approach that we offer, that's going to be tremendously attractive to those people. And those other people that I mentioned that want to spend their life in a gym, those aren't our clientele anyway. So they're going to do their thing, but someday those people are going to grow up and have busier careers and family and kids and different things, and they're going to realize that they don't have the time to spend that kind of time in the gym either. So
yeah, I love, what a great start. Let me just make a few comments. So yeah, I mean, what you said about time efficiency is so true. I mean, of every organization I've spoken with, and some of these obviously huge scale, right? They're doing maybe thousands of workouts a week. Efficiency is the standout differentiator in our space. Listeners would have heard of me and Luke Carlson talk about the three uniques, USPs, another way of putting it, just things that make your business different. And one of the reasons I love our space, and it's not one reason why I love our space, but I love how well differentiated we are, and how easy it is to differentiate our businesses. And efficiency always stands out as like the number one, unique that resonates most with the target market you describe. And along the same lines, it's really, you made a really good point, which is that, there's going to be people that come across your business, come for a free workout, and they won't convert. And a lot of people's reaction is, why wouldn't they convert? They don't get it. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. But the probable answer, I mean, maybe there is something you can do wrong and there's feedback there and you can improve. But the probable answer is that actually you're not built for them, because maybe they are young and have ample time and no responsibilities and love being in the gym all the time, or for other reasons, right? And so it's important to factor that into the situation. We are built for certain individuals at the end of the day. And going back to health benefits, the myokines thing, that is the most exciting thing for me.
Yeah.
Like when I'm training now, right, I'm still really focused. I know I shouldn't be, the wrong objective. I'm still very focused on, beating my performance, right, in terms of reps or time on the load. And what often motivates me in the back of my mind is thinking, I'm going to secrete even more myokines to to improve my health, albeit there is obviously, I'm sure, a law of diminishing returns with that, depending on how much effort you have to, but anyone wants to really get into this more, Dr. Bente Peterson, who's over in Holland, I think, who's probably the leading expert on myokines. You should check her stuff out. I think she's got some presentations on YouTube. I think Rec did some stuff with her, so you can go to resistanceexerciseconference.com and look at their resources. But Doug McGuff also did a great presentation with the IHMC. I'll link it in the show notes on YouTube, where he brings up a slide where he talks through, like, just not all of them, because I'm sure there's thousands, but he basically gives an illustration of like a whole bunch of myokines and the role they play in upregulating the health of like every tissue and every organ. And it's so interesting because it's like improvements in bone mineral density and, hormones that signal lipolysis and body fat and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, wow, like it's just so fascinating that they're doing all these different jobs around the body. So I'll link those up. But Tim, that's a great start. Is there more you want to say on health improvement or advantages of strength training, or do you want to move on?
I mean, I guess maybe just one final comment, and you kind of stimulated my thought on this, is that, particularly not only in light of everything we just discussed, but even more recently with the COVID situation, I have really come to appreciate and try to stress this with my clients as well, is that when you do a strength training workout, you're building your muscle strength, you're building endurance, you're improving your functional ability, you're building your bone density, you're, improving your physical function in that. But you need to understand that literally every time you work out, you're stimulating your body to produce these myokines, and they are flooding your body and giving you a health benefit in every single area, and particularly making you healthier, building your immune system, having everything to function better. And you don't realize, and I even think to myself that every time I work out, I'm stimulating this production, and my body's being flooded with these wonderfully beneficial, chemicals. And it really takes a much more profound impact on what you're doing, and you realize that this is like an incredibly beneficial thing, and it just makes you feel almost kind of superhuman. Even though obviously we're all mortal, and we all are going to suffer illnesses and things from time to time, but we're talking about doing something that, between what we offer people and combining that with a healthy lifestyle and a healthy diet and so forth, you're doing everything you can humanly do to enhance your body and keep it healthy, keep it strong, fight back the aging process, all of these types of things. And it just takes on much more deeper meaning when you understand that, and that leads to the motivation to push yourself through that workout.
This episode is brought to you by ARX. These are the most intense exercise machines I've ever used. I remember how fast the pull-down exercise took me to muscular failure and beyond. On the final negative or eccentric excursion, my tank was practically empty, but the adaptive resistance enabled me to continue to perform work until the predetermined end of the set. This experience was very profound and made me realize how effective ARX is in helping clients reach a high level of intensity in their workouts and ultimately produce the best results. I also love how ARX measures and tracks range of motion, rep cadence, total output and time, and more with real-time audio and visual feedback. These features are powerful sales and retention tools to help you convert and keep more clients. As a listener of the High Intensity Business podcast, ARX is offering you $500 off your machines. Just go to arxfit.com/HIB to book a call with the ARX sales team to learn how ARX can revolutionize and grow your fitness business. Again, go to arxfit.com/HIB, and now back to the episode. Yeah, do you know what? I think you do such a good job when you talk about the health benefits, because I notice you keep it quite high level, and that's because you're probably very good at keeping a high level with your clients too, right? Which is really important, because otherwise they just glaze over when you get into the technical details, unless they're inclined that way. And occasionally you do get a client who's like really curious, right? And you can go a little bit deeper, or as deep as I'm able to anyway. But talking about the virus, this is fascinating, because it's another good selling point, right? It's talking about how much more resilient this makes you to the impact of viruses, right? And the way I explain, I'm curious how you explain it, because I don't understand it in depth. So the way I tend to talk about it is, strength training is highly anti-inflammatory, and it enables your body to reduce inflammation following, contact from a virus or infection or whatever, which is the problem, right? Because a lot of people who are not able to control inflammation very well, it just kind of gets out of control, causes like a cytokine storm, and then that causes like a cascade of issues related to the virus. So that's kind of how I understand it. It's like it's anti-inflammatory effect, right? And how I describe its effect. So I'm just curious, how do you talk about it when people say, I don't know, when you have a conversation with a client about how this helps with viruses? Do you explain it similarly, or do you do it a different way?
And this kind of highlights something, and even going back to something you mentioned a moment ago, is that you do have to be very careful with most clients in terms of how you describe things, because as you alluded to, the eyes will glaze over, and you'll kind of lose them if you talk at too high of a level, or I'm even kind of a little bit wary of using the term myokines, because people go, myokines, what
switch goes off.
So I'll mention the term myokines, but then I'll shift to speaking about it at a lower level, and just promote this idea of what these chemical messengers are doing. And you've got to talk to people and connect with them in terms of what they're going to get and what the benefits to them are, rather than talk at this high-minded scientific level or something. But when it comes to what you mentioned specifically, again, I try not to get too over the top with it, but just promote the idea, like you just said, is that one of the problems with the virus is the fact that it causes this cytokine storm and this reaction of inflammation, particularly in the lungs and things, and it just causes your immune system to go haywire and overproduce trying to fight this thing, and that's where the problem is stemming from. So going back to this, that when you're healthy, when you're strong and you're fit, and when you're doing these workouts and you're stimulating this myokine production, and it's having these profound benefits at every organ system and on your immune system, it's enhancing all of this and helping your body to function normally at a very high healthy level. And when you are confronted with different things, whether it's more specifically COVID, or whether it's, the flu or the cold or any other type of illness, is that your body is going to be better prepared to fight whatever it is. And your immune system is going to be functioning better, so that anything you encounter, your body is going to fight it off like it was designed to do, So
Beautifully
I
put.
think, I think one of the biggest problems with this whole pandemic the past couple of years, and why it's been such a problem, notice that it's been a problem for people that were at risk, that had comorbidities and had other health problems to begin with, because these people, number one, how many people are overweight and obese and over fat? And that's been shown to be a very highly specific indicator of somebody that's going to have a bad case. And, I've seen some stuff where fat cells and fat tissue is like a factory for the COVID virus. So with so many people being over fat, obese, things of that, but just generally being unhealthy, not exercising regularly, not eating well, and just being a mess, when you're confronted with any type of virus or other illness, you're not going to do as well with that. Your body's not going to respond as well. So being healthy, strong, fit, exercising, doing your strength training, being in good condition, eating well, and having the benefits of these myokines and this health production that occurs through all of this, that's your best defense right there. So I talk about those kind of benefits and help them to understand that you need to realize that this isn't just about making your muscles stronger or looking better in a bathing suit or whatever. This is something that you need to understand, that this is a tremendously healthy, beneficial activity that you're engaging in.
Yeah. And just to bring it all home, and I've talked about this before on previous podcasts, but I think it's just one of those really important points to make, is the problem with high intensity training is that it's a silver bullet. It's not a silver bullet. Clearly, you have to sleep and eat well, et cetera, et cetera. But it delivers so many benefits that it's tempting to want to just, hit someone with every benefit. And many of those, which frankly, they just won't care about. So I think it's really important. And I know that you know this, Tim, and curious your thoughts on this, to understand in that initial consultation, what do they care about? What are their goals? And focus on those. If it's fat loss, if it's strength, if it's fitness, focus on those. Don't necessarily talk about everything else. You can drip feed and everything else as they work with you over time. And I think that's important from a educational and ultimately retention point of view and generating referrals. But in the beginning, it's like, just hit them with the lay description, which you do so well, of the benefits that they care about, because that's going to convert the sale really effectively. And it's going to resonate with them. And ultimately, that's how you're going to be able to smuggle in all the other benefits as well, right? Which is what gives us so much fulfillment in what we do. So just curious, do you do that in the same way, or do you have a different approach for how you talk about these things?
Yeah, no, that's some really good points, Lawrence. And one of the things you have to do, there's a difference between maybe the way you're handling things when you initially meet somebody and you're doing that initial consultation and you're trying to make the sale. Obviously, that needs to be targeted to the things that are going to have the most impact on influencing them. You're going to want to deliver a message that's going to connect with them emotionally, because people make purchase decisions emotionally a lot. They maybe want some amount of facts and understanding of things, but ultimately to make that purchase, you've got to be connecting with them on a level that they are confident that what you're offering and what you're selling essentially is going to provide them what they are looking for and what they want. So at that consultation level or those initial presentations, I do kind of touch upon the wide range of benefits, because a lot of people may not realize that, hey, they may be coming to me looking for a certain thing, but wow, look at all this other stuff I'm going to get too. But very quickly, I dial it down. And once I've learned what they are most motivated by or what they're trying to achieve and get from the program, I'm going to obviously hit those points and give them confidence that I'm going to be able to provide that to them, very well. But realize too that if they do become a client, you've got a lot of time over the weeks and months and hopefully years of working with that person to introduce some of these other concepts, because there's always situations where you're going along, you're training somebody, and they say something to you or some subject comes up in your conversation with them, and that gives you a doorway or a window into addressing something new that you hadn't talked to them about before. And again, I'm trying to do that and connect with them on a level that is going to touch them and make them have confidence and in what I'm offering them. So it could be something as easy as, I had a client tell me that like over the summer, they were doing some, yard and gardening work, and they had purchased a bunch of bags of dirt and mulch and things like that. And they had loaded it in the trunk of their car. And they told me, and this was a woman, and she told me that, Tim, I can't believe it. Last summer before I met you, I couldn't even lift these bags of dirt out of my car. And this year it felt like easy to do. And I just was able to load and unload these bags and carry them out into my yard and do all this work. And, this is amazing. So somebody makes a comment like that, you want to immediately reinforce what they said and connect the dots and realize that this is what I'm talking about. When you're in the gym, the workouts are always hard. You're always we're striving to reach, momentary failure on an exercise, and we're progressing the weight loads and making things more challenging over time. So the workout itself is always going to be difficult and challenging, but your life outside of the gym is going to become easier. So connect the dots that, yes, see, you are getting much better, because I can't count the amount of times that a client thinks that they're performing poorly and getting worse because the workouts are hard. And I tell them, I don't care who you are, how strong you are, how fit you are, how long you've been doing this, the workouts are designed to be hard, because that's what stimulates the benefits. Going back to my friend's little thing on the wall there, easy doesn't work. Okay, so the workouts are hard, but what gets easier...
That's not Doug Holland by any chance, is it?
It's what?
Sounds like something Doug would have on the wall. Doug Holland Doug Holland would have on his wall.
Yeah, Doug Holland really would, have something that, in this case it wasn't.
He'd also scream at the person as they start to suffer towards the end of the set, probably.
Right. But, take opportunities to connect the dots with people that your life outside of the gym is what's going to get easier. When you do things like lift bags of dirt out of your car, when you go up and down the stairs, when you play with your grandkids, when you do different things, that's what's getting easier. But also tie it in with their health. Somebody comes in and say, oh, I just had my physical and my blood pressure is down, my cholesterol is down, I've lost 12 pounds since my last physical, and my doctor was ecstatic about these benefits. It's like, don't just say, oh, yeah, that's great. I mean, tie it in with what you've been doing with them for the past year and how that has impacted that. And so again, it builds not only their motivation to push through these workouts, but it builds their desire and their commitment to your program, so that they'll stay with you long term. And once they experience these things, they're not going to want to quit. They're not going to want to stop doing your program, because they're going to realize what's going to happen to them if they do, and that they're going to revert back and lose all those things that they achieved.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think you can't take that for granted, right? You've got to still be diligent about educating them. I mean, yes. I had a client who I swear I explained till I was blue in the face about the benefits of double progression, right? About the importance of increasing you're laughing because you've been there, right, Tim?
Yeah.
Like, you know, in terms of keeping the time and the load reasonable, and not a sufferfest, and keeping the weight too low. And obviously there's benefits with things like bone mineral density if there's a higher load, etc. And he still questioned that, and he ended up canceling, right? And I did like an exit interview of him, and it was really good feedback and great learning experience. But it just made me laugh that and I thought, how could I have explained this better? And you know, I think one of the things we did in response is we decided that, and this is something we were planning on doing anyway, is just introducing more touch points for education in terms of a weekly email, seminars, more diligence around a teaching focus every session, like a 20 to 30 second, like, you know, thing on why we use a slow speed of movement, or the importance of strength training for bone mineral density, or whatever it is, right? And this has largely been inspired by Discover Strength. I should hat tip those guys. And anyway, so you know, that was really good feedback and good learning, but at the same time, it is annoying and kind of funny, you know. But
yeah, well, one of the things that comes with more and more experience and dealing with these types of things is that, number one, you start to recognize when there's maybe a problem brewing with somebody. You start to realize, you know, because what's so frustrating is that a lot of clients will not tell you that they're getting frustrated, or they will not tell you that they're about to quit your program for whatever reason. They'll just do it, okay? But they do give off sort of warning signals if you're observant, and you can see by the way they're approaching the workouts, the way they're walking through your door, maybe subtle comments that they make. And if you're observant, you can catch on that there's a problem developing here. And you then can use that opportunity to start to address certain things and start to touch upon some things that may resonate with them and connect. So you can get some of these things. And I like what you said about these touch points. Yeah, you need to have these touch points. You need to be in tune with what's going on with your clients, and then sort of take problems and head them off at the pass, and be able to address things before it goes too far to the point where they're going to quit or drop out of the program.
I'm curious, how do you, like, I'm just curious if we could just almost role play that for a second. So you notice someone in their demeanor, just that mood that day, the way they interact with your program, they're just not feeling it. You're kind of seeing the writing on the wall. What would you say? Would you kind of talk to them at the end of the session, or maybe pick the phone up and give them a ring and say, hey, I noticed it's just different vibe about you of your training, or you're looking a bit dejected. I don't know, maybe you put it way more nicer than that. But like, would you kind of engage them about it and say, what's up? You know, what are you actually with? Is there an issue that I can help you with? How, I'm just curious how you actually address that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it would, number one, it would depend on exactly maybe what the problem is or what their frustration is. So it may begin by just some general conversation, like you just mentioned, is that, hey, you know, I noticed that you seem to be struggling today, or maybe your head's not in this, and, you know, is there something going on, and, you know, is there anything we can kind of address? And they may, you know, come out with some information, and then you take it from there. But other times, things may come out like a classic thing that I get. Like I've got this one particular female client that is constantly, even though she's been with me less than a year, she's constantly questioning, number one, how hard this is, or number two, why am I increasing the weight when it's already hard?
Yeah. So funny. Yeah.
Now, I will say too that usually when somebody says this, it's not too hard, you know, because this particular woman in question, she, in a lot of exercise, she's really not at what I would consider a true point of momentary muscular failure. She's working hard in her mind. She's being challenged and she's working hard, and I don't doubt that she's feeling some discomfort and some muscle ache and muscle burn, but she's able to do her entire set. And I essentially end the set when the time under load gets to a certain point, and I'll just end the set and then make notes to bump the weight up next time and make it a little more challenging to bring the parameters into line. But she's got a problem with that, with the difficulty and the hardness. And then that leads to something like, well, how long do we keep doing this with increasing the weights and trying to, progress? Is there ever a point where I just get to maintenance level? And I kind of inside, I'm like, okay, here we go again. It's like,
right.
I've been training, personally, my personal fitness program. I've been, for 45 years, I've been lifting weights and strength training and doing this, and I'm still trying to get better. I'm still trying to improve. It doesn't mean that I, am, but I'm trying to. I'm working as hard as I can. I'm managing the variables. I'm trying to progress the weight loads. I'm continually striving to get better, because I also know that, aging, I've got to fight back against that as well. So when I hear somebody that's been with me 6 or 8 months asking, when can we stop progressing and just maintain? I'm just like, boy, you're a long ways off. So I'll explain to them is that, number one, ideally, you're never not trying to improve. You're always trying to progress, but there will be, built-in limitations where, yes, you will reach plateaus. Your rate of progress will slow down, things of that nature. So you're not always going to literally be making progress every single workout, but you're always trying. So I'll touch upon that and start to address that. But then, if they're really struggling with this difficulty level, I'll explain to them, one of the great things about it is over quick. You're on the machine for maybe 90 seconds, and you're, that as soon as you set the weight down, that muscle burn and that ache goes away, and the whole workout is over briefly, less than 30 minutes, maybe 25-minute workout, and you're doing this once or twice a week. So, the benefits is that, yeah, these workouts are hard, but they're over quick and they're infrequent. And then again, tie it in with all these benefits we're getting, and help them to see that that's a small price to pay for the tremendous benefits that they're getting and what's going to happen to them if they don't do this. All right.
Yeah. So I was going to just say, I remember Doug McGuff talking about the issue with, I think he talks about this in Body by Science or maybe on my podcast. He talks about the issue of maintenance, which people don't maintain, do they? They get weaker. That's the problem, right? Is that what you've observed as well? Or
I mean, always in the back of my mind, Arthur Jones, in one of his articles or materials, had said one time that you're never staying the same. You're either growing or you're losing, or you're either building muscle or losing muscle. That this idea of staying the same, it's not going to happen. And I sometimes use that concept to explain to people that if you, due to the fact that the aging process is trying to tear you down, and the natural course of events is that the aging process is going to cause you to lose muscle. If you're just trying to maintain, you're not going to maintain. You're going to be losing slowly. Now, you may lose a little less, quickly as somebody that's not exercising. But if you're just content to maintain, that's essentially going to be a program where you're regressing. All right. So this idea of trying to always improve, trying to always progress, training as hard as you can to do everything you can to improve, that will be an insurance policy against the loss of strength and the degradation that occurs with aging. So that's one good reason to not simply, go into maintenance mode. But it's, it's something critical to understand and get across to people. So what I also try to tie in with people, like the other day, one of my pretty good clients that really just gives me all they've got each time and doesn't complain and, trains hard. He had just got off the Avenger leg press, with a great set. And, he set the weight down, I backed him out of the seat, and then he sat there in the seat and kind of put his head down, and obviously he was exhausted, and he was sitting there, and the first thing I said is, take whatever time you need. I know this thing is brutal. And he goes, yeah, and he did that. But then when he got up after a minute or so and we made our way to the next exercise and he was getting ready to start the next exercise, I immediately tied it in that, number one, acknowledged that I understand how hard this is. And, I sometimes tell a story that, I just did that machine yesterday, and every time, no matter how many times I do it, it shocks me how tough it is, and I kind of add that empathy to connect with him, but also I tied it in and explained that, these workouts have much more benefit beyond, even the obvious or the health and the strength benefits, but it builds a mental discipline, and it builds a fortitude that transfers to your life and makes you better able to push through difficult things in your life, whether they be physical things or mental things. That it just simply builds that mental discipline and that fortitude and that ability, right? That ability to push through things. And particularly when it comes to even other physical things, like I mentioned to them that I think this just builds your general pain tolerance overall. Not just your pain tolerance to be able to tolerate the workouts, but your pain tolerance for anything that happens to you. Where, sometimes I'm working on equipment, I'm doing, maintenance or retrofitting of machines, and inevitably you slam something on your hand, or you hit your thumb with a hammer or something like that, and it hurts like heck, but you kind of shake it off and you just move on, and it doesn't impact you as much, or you just bang your knee on a desk or something like that. But I've just found that all of this kind of builds my pain tolerance to anything else in life, and it just transfers to other areas. And I kind of mentioned some of these things to him, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I totally agree." And it was just another way of, showing him that these workouts have a lot of benefits, but also showing him that discomfort in that work that he's doing during the workouts has a lot of payoff in every area of his life. And again, kind of building this concept that this program is so valuable, and then connecting the dots that it's also very time efficient and it doesn't take a lot of time. And, sometimes I'll say things like somebody has a real tough workout and they're walking out, and I'll say, well, the good news is you don't have to do this again for another week, something like that. Or, or you don't have to do this again for 4 or 5 days, till the end of the week. So again, just dropping those little seeds to get them to not only, commit with their mind, but commit with acknowledging all of the benefits they're receiving, and including those benefits of the time efficiency and not having to spend your life in the gym and all of those kind of things.
Yeah. Amazing, Tim. And again, we've managed one bullet this podcast. So it's an important bullet. So I'm not disappointed. I'm quite happy we spent a lot of time on this one. And it's funny because I actually thought, we'll just finish this off at the start. And it took a whole podcast, which is great.
Yeah. I mean, I thought we were going to get to more things and some of the more, the other concepts coming into play. But honestly, I'm kind of glad and happy where this conversation went, because it did allow us to address a number of important things and really, I think, help people dealing with the day-to-day things that they're going to encounter with clients. Not only gaining clients when we're doing those consultations and we're dealing with prospective clients, but keeping the clients we have, having a higher retention level, and helping them to really understand how valuable this is in their lives, and building that commitment to us for them to stay with the program. And we've heard this a lot, the concept that it's easier to keep a client than it is to get a new client. So certainly the clients we have, we want to keep, and we want to build that. And it's doesn't do us as a business if we are gaining a new client, but then we're also losing an old client. We didn't move forward. So we need to keep the clients we've got, and then gradually be adding those new clients and building our rosters and building our businesses.
Yep, 100%. Completely agree with that. And thanks so much for your time again, Tim. I want to be respectful of that. I know you've got another appointment. Do you want to just briefly touch on the opportunities for the listeners in terms of your workshops, mentorship, seminars, stuff like that?
Yeah. So, like we've kind of discussed and pointed out, I have done a lot of work over the years with people doing instructor training, training trainers, mentoring people, doing educational programs and workshops. So that is available. I'm offering that, where we can customize an approach. I've had some people contact me already, and I said, this is all customizable. You tell me, what you're looking to achieve, how many staff members, trainers you have, what you'd like to do. Do you want to come to me? Do you want to have me come to you? We can do a lot of different things, so we can discuss that, and this can be customized based on the person's needs. And even if it's an individual, I've had people that have just new kind of novice trainers that want to learn how to do this and want to learn everything about it and want to build their skills. And I can do it one-on-one with somebody and just kind of mentor them and teach them and do this stuff. Or, we can do it at the business level, where an entire staff of people and all of that. So basically, I'm offering these services, and somebody contacts me at my website is stronglifetraining.com. There's connection points there and phone numbers and things that you can reach me through there. So that would be the best approach.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that. And if everyone listening to find the blog post for this episode and download a PDF on how to attract great personal trainers to your strength training business, please go to highintensitybusiness.com, search for episode 354. And until next time, thank you very much for listening. This episode is brought to you by ARX. You want to be a successful strength training studio owner. The problem is you aren't able to deliver the safest, most efficient and effective workouts, making it harder for you to attract and retain clients, which makes you feel frustrated. I understand that it can be difficult to differentiate your business without the right tools. ARX's breakthrough adaptive resistance technology uses patented motorized resistance and computer software to give you and your clients the perfect workout every single time. BioFit founder John Zarbok says that ARX is clearly the superior tool to deliver the exercise stimulus. My clients are seeing insane improvements in weeks, not months. I could not fathom running my business without ARX. So here's how you get started. Number 1, go to arxfit.com/HIB to get $500 off your ARX machines. Number 2, book a call with the ARX sales team. And number 3, learn how ARX can help you grow your strength training business. Go to arxfit.com/HIB so you can stop struggling to attract and retain clients and start to grow your strength training business with confidence.